Hello everybody and welcome back to the Pennsylvania and Berwind. This is episode number 24. Thank you for joining me once again, and today we're going to be doing some more work on Allegheny Yard here. I've been looking through your comments and your suggestions through the last episode, and the first thing I wanted to do here was get rid of those stupid trees. You guys called it. I shouldn't have even put them there to begin with, but I'm starting it off, getting rid of them, and I'm putting in a tower. And I might replace this tower because for some reason it was the only one I was able to find. So that's what I'm using for now. Call it a placeholder, but there is going to be a tower there now. And that's the first thing that I wanted to do, as well as get rid of this stupid service road that I put in here. I don't know what I was thinking. You guys pointed it out to me and agreed that it really just didn't make any sense. So it's gone, and I'm putting in a dirt road here. And again with this episode, same as last time, I kind of struggled a little bit with this sort of broad brushstrokes sort of thing. I really wanted to do some more detailing and stuff, and I've got like a 20-minute time lapse ahead of me here and about 15 minutes worth of talking that I'm gonna have to get through. So we'll see if I can get through it, but I feel like even though I got it, a 20-minute time lapse translates to about 2 hours worth of actual record time, which then conversely translates to about 5-6 hours of build time, maybe a little bit more than that. So that's about the time frame, just to give you kind of an idea. And even though I shot a lot and I did a lot of building, I still didn't really feel like I got a whole lot done. Which goes back to what I was talking about last episode, where I was trying to cover a lot of ground. And really, I guess what I ended up doing for myself in this episode is sort of setting myself up for detailed projects in the future. So kind of laying the groundwork, call it a rough draft if you will, or just kind of roughing it in. You know, again, there wasn't a whole lot of detail work until the very end. I just spent a lot of time getting the idea down so that I could figure out what I'm gonna do next and what I'm gonna do in the future, and along with doing some detail stuff here and there. So one of the details that I'm adding here next to this control tower is I just figured, hey, why not put like a mound of dirt or something there? Maybe they're excavating something, make a little sort of construction scene, who knows? Maybe there was an old building here. There was supposed to be maybe there was supposed to be something there. I don't know. I'm trying to make up stuff in my head as I go along. I'm not always totally successful at it, as well as you guys might think. Some of you guys had suggested that I put in a river next to the yard here, and I didn't really think about that before, and I was like, you know what? Let's give this a try. I think somebody had mentioned Pittsburgh, that it kind of reminded you of Pittsburgh, so I figured, why not? Let's give it a try. So I'm putting in this river here. We'll call it the Allegheny River for fun. I don't know, there's no official name for it. And I kind of do like the way that it cuts in and divides the scene out a little bit, because it breaks things up a little bit. So on the one side, we've got kind of a downtown scene, and then on the other side, we've got a little bit more of a suburban scene with this nice river and rail yard as a division. And I think that that's pretty cool. And I think you'll agree by the end of it, the sort of port scene that I begin to work on through here is actually pretty neat. It adds to the feel of the PNB really nicely, I think. But some of you guys had suggested that, and some of you guys had also suggested that you didn't like well, you didn't suggest it, you commented that you didn't really like the layout of the yard. And, you know, I guess I designed this yard probably in 2010 now, so almost 8 years ago at this point. It's actually kind of funny now that I mention it. When I was adjusting some of the environmental settings, if you look really closely when I click into the environmental settings, the date on there is still set to like whenever I started this route in, I think it was like July 3rd or July 8th or something like that, 2010. So it's like, it's still stuck in there from Trainz 2010 when I kicked this off. So back to the yard layout. I mean, it could be revised, it could be better, it could be less linear. But this is what I have for now, and it serves its function for actually dividing, sorting out the traffic between Juniata on one end and Grafton on the other. So I guess I should mention, I never gave any background on this yard. So I guess I'll give a little bit of background right now. This yard serves as kind of a division point yard halfway between Juniata and Grafton. So Grafton is actually milepost 0 on the PNB, and Juniata is whatever, I think milepost 34 or 40 or something like that. It's the total opposite end. So really, when I started doing this build, I started working my way backwards. That's a whole other story explanation as to why I had done that. But anyway, Juniata, or excuse me, Allegheny serves as the division point yard between the two yards. to sort local traffic in between the yards, as well as yard forwarders and so on and so forth. So that's why it's split into two, and there's a north yard and a south yard. I think it's actually east and west yard now that I'm thinking about it. But one half of the yard services trains going in one direction, and the other half services trains going in the other direction. And there's supposed to be an engine facility in the middle and repair and place track and all that kind of thing. So I wanted to get all that kind of stuff in there. And I mean, like I said, when I designed this 8 years ago, I would have been in my early 20s, and I didn't really know what I'm doing. Not that I really know what I'm doing any better now, but I just wanted to get it out to serve a purpose. So in the future, maybe we could do a revision. Maybe we'll do another variation of this route one day. I really don't know. I can't say for sure. But it serves its purpose. And going along those lines about things that are kind of like old and need to be updated, going forward with the future builds on this map, we're moving into less and less already built territory. So when I started around in Old Town with my first videos there and Junietta, a lot of that had already been done and just got screwed up in the process of going from Trainz 2010 to 12 to Tane. So what I've been doing for the most part is sort of fixing some of the track layouts and the scenery and stuff like that just got corrupted or misplaced or whatever through years of updating. But from here onward to Grafton, there's literally just blank baseboards with like a single piece of track going through it and maybe like a turnout to represent where an industry is supposed to be. So there's, I think, 3 more branch lines left to do, plus the main line from here to Grafton, and a whole bunch of more industries. So there's a lot more stuff to build along the P&B. There's a whole nother like layout basically worth of things that needs to get built from here to Grafton. So I got my work cut out for me, but aside from that, none of it is even in any state of completion. It's completely blank. So I guess some of the builds going from here on forward are going to take on a different sort of style. The videos are going to be a little bit different because everything is blank. I'm almost going to be starting fresh. And in some cases, I'm almost considering in some areas, some of the branch lines that I kind of laid out really quickly, I might just delete them and redo the whole thing. But that's a whole nother thing for the future. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that's, I guess, to just bring you up to speed with this whole thing. And give you a bit of a background as to why the track plan is the way that it is and why I really haven't modified it too much. And I guess the other reason why I haven't modified it too much is because I've been working on this for so long, I kind of want to just get it done. Like, I don't want to say, like, I don't want that to sound like I don't enjoy the process of building it, because I do. But I've been working on it for so long that I just want it to be in some kind of a state of completion so I can actually operate on it, because that's the whole thing. That's the whole P&B is operation oriented. So I've been dying to do that myself, and you know, that's partially the reason why I'm not really adapting a lot of the trackage, and I'm keeping a lot of it the same and just trying to fix stuff. So now on to what are we doing? What are we looking at here? So now I'm just trying to update this sort of port scene here, and to be perfectly honest with you, I struggled a little bit with what to detail and what to add in here, because I didn't want it to feel like too much of an active port, because then to me, if it was more active, if it was a, you know, fully active port and there was a lot of boats coming in here, I felt like maybe there needed to be some train tracks going in there too for some like interchange type traffic, and I didn't want to add that. I mean, maybe we can cut it in the future, but right now I didn't want to add anything that wasn't already a part of the original P&B story. So, and this is totally not part of the original P&B story at all, this sort of port thing. This is totally added in. So I didn't really know where to go with it. I haven't been to too many ports, to be perfectly honest with you, so I don't know what kind of stuff they would be kind of kicking around, especially in the modern age. I didn't want this to look like an intermodal facility, because I didn't make the river big enough, so I couldn't imagine like big cargo ships coming in here and, you know, offloading big containers onto trucks and stuff like that. And then again, that would mean that I would have to add some kind of a intermodal facility, or you guys would be asking for an intermodal facility for freight cars and stuff like that. And I also did not want to add that in here. We'll add it in at some other place, but not here. So I kind of wanted to have this idea, or the idea that I had in my head was that this was a once thriving seaport, and now it's sort of dwindling and maybe doesn't have as much traffic. Maybe the traffic is just a little bit more localized, smaller boats, smaller ships and stuff like that to offload or unload whatever goods and whatever they're doing. I also wanted to add some sort of, what would you call it, like fishing docks, or like for like private boat launches and stuff like that. I wanted to include that there because looking at some Google Earth views of Pittsburgh, it seemed like a lot of the areas there was, you know, private piers and docks and stuff like that with fishing for private boats and hobbyists and that sort of deal. So I did want to include that. So now I'm actually widening the river a little tiny bit more because I was like, hey, this is kind of narrow even for to even have this backstory that there was any busy ships going through here, that it ever was a busy ship lane. So widened it, and eventually I start adding some more like ships and details and stuff like that. But I think at this point I'm trying to cut in some docks. This whole thing, I should have just titled this video like the search for assets, because I could not find anything. There was so much of this video that I had to cut out because I could not find any of the assets that I wanted. Nothing just felt right, and it just took me forever to find anything. A lot of scrolling through the asset list and then just cutting that out of the video because it was just too much. So here I'm adding some more docks and slowly like adding details into this scene. I think some stuff that I did off camera, I did some of the residential area that's kind of behind this. I did that off camera, and a lot of asset searching, man. Just a lot of asset searching off camera. I found a few of these boats that look pretty cool and they fit, so that's what we're trying to add in here next. But I want you guys to let me know what kind of details that I could add in here, because even by the end of this, we're still missing. I feel like it could be more busy, and I think I'll talk about that in the outro. Actually, we'll take a look in better detail during the outro. But for the most part, like I said, I'm kind of just setting this up to come back later on and add some more details. I'm just trying to rough in the basic idea. There's these big ships here, these barges, some tugboats and some fishing boats, and just trying to get the general idea down so I can come back later when I have maybe more of a fresh mind and do a little bit more detail stuff, add some more trucks or maybe a couple more buildings, whatever it might be that I need to add in there. And moving forward, let's see, what are we doing here? Running out of things to talk about. I'm just adding some more parking lots and some debris and stuff like that. I was picturing this spot as being sort of like a little fishing shack, that little brown building at the top there. Maybe a place like a bait and tackle place or something like that with this little fishing dock off the front of it. So I thought that was kind of neat. Slowly introducing in some vegetation in here, because looking at Google Earth, I saw that there's sort of these divisions in between docks and like normal landscape. So it was hard to tell on the satellite image or the aerial image, whatever Google Earth actually uses, what exactly those property divisions were. If it was former industries that have been knocked over and then overgrown, or if that's just where the natural line is, the division of scenery to industry. I'm not sure, but that's kind of the look that I was going for, that I had in mind, if that makes any sense. One thing I did notice recently, you saw me just delete that truck, that trailer. For some reason, I didn't change any of my game settings, but I feel like my the loads, the distance is totally like changed. So things are like rendering into their lower resolution like way sooner than they should be. And I don't think anything has changed in my game. I don't know if that's like a bug that just popped up like randomly or what. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the assets that I'm using. I'm not even sure. So it could be that. Now here I'm just trying to work my way into this sort of transition zone where we're going to come out of this sort of harbor area and get into some of the older houses and sort of suburban neighborhood. And now this area that I'm doing right now, I got the idea for this from the Norfolk Southern Yard module, the map that I did the video on a couple weeks ago by ESCD84. And what this is supposed to represent is an old building that was bulldozed. So this is like a construction site, and maybe the building was totally out of service, maybe there was a fire damage or something like that, but it's been bulldozed, and this is kind of like the foundation and what's left. And I saw that ESCD84 used that quite a bit through his map there, and I thought that was really cool and would lend itself to backing up the story a little bit more, that this seaport is sort of old and abandoned, or in the process of being abandoned, run down, sort of that kind of idea. So found some of these cool abandoned assets, this crane that's toppled over, and then I just added some more grass and trees and stuff like that around it to make it look like either it fell down a long time ago or it fell down into an area that was already being overtaken by vegetation. And then just trying to add some details to support this whole story, some piles of gravel and cement and stuff like that. But that's gonna do it for my monologue. Whew, man, I gotta take a breath. I'll leave you with a song and I'll catch up with you guys in just a moment in the outro. All right, dudes. Well, I hope you enjoyed that time lapse and that build, as lengthy as it was. First thing I'd like to address right here is that we had another donation in the meantime by Lewis Todd. So we are in driver mode, so I'm just gonna go to the map view here. We got Louis' Bait and Tackle, and that is this building, where is it? Right here, this wooden building. So thank you very much, Louis, that he congratulated me on 3,000 subscribers, even though I'm just right at the time of this recording, just a hair below 3,000, so thank you for the support, Louis. Not a whole lot left to go over here. I think, let me stop this train so that I can get my frame rate back to where it should be. Again, I gotta do some more detailing down here, particularly in this parking lot. If you guys have suggestions, maybe I need to put some more buildings down, maybe I need to add some more fencing and stuff like that. I'm not sure, I gotta look at some more photos. But let me know what your thoughts are. And again, I don't know if I showed this in the time lapse. I did do this whole suburban neighborhood down here too. And I was just trying to keep it simple. I didn't want to spam too many trees around to kill frame rates because all this track and stuff like that is already going to do a number on your system. So trying to keep it sort of simple. Maybe we can add some more details later. Again, just kind of like laying the groundwork for future stuff. And I did also replace some of this track with some lower poly track that looks nice and still kind of retains my frame rate. So that's that. Let me know your thoughts also on what to do down over this way. Because I'm not too certain. I think I'm gonna cut it off right here is gonna be the end of what is now, I guess, gonna be phase 1. I have no idea. That'll be what I release. I'm gonna cut it off here. So let me know what I should do to fill in this area. We could always just spam some trees down and then come back later on and cut some scenes into it and then call it a day. Because honestly, dudes, and I think I could say this pretty confidently for you guys as well, is I'm getting a little P&B burnout, and I think that might be just because I've been working on this for so long. I might need to take a little bit of a break, so I'm not sure what that means for the completion of this build, but going forward, I know I think the next video is probably going to be over here. We're going to do the steel mill in the next one. But the areas that are left to complete are the steel mill, the area that's right behind me, and then this whole big kind of thing over here, which I kind of know what I'm going to put here. A lot of it is just going to be forested. So I'll probably do most of that off camera, but there's some little detail scenes and stuff I would like to do through here. But for the most part, yeah, I need to take a break soon. I think you guys are getting a little bit bored with it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for a video next week. Maybe it'll be a P&B video. Maybe it'll be the steel mill one. Maybe not. I haven't decided. Might just do a live stream. Maybe I'll even do something new, like a build challenge. But I think that's going to do it for today's episode. That's about all I got in me. I'm a little burned out at the moment. So, thank you guys for watching and thank you for the support. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a nice weekend.